Hey guys, it's Crystal from Essentially Tarot. Welcome back to my channel for part 5 of the Friendly Tarot Deck Collection series. There should be maybe one more video in this series because I do have, after this video, about 7 or 8 more decks to go. And then we'll be moving on to the dark deck. So let's just jump right in. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out parts 1 through 4 if this is the first video that you're stumbling across. Anyway, let's jump right in. So today we're going to start with, this is one that I think a lot of people have seen from Uzi. This is the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot. I have managed to keep my seal intact. I've been opening it from this end of the box. This is a deck that I don't know, I just had to have it. I had seen it when it first came out on, I believe, Kickstarter, and it was one of those where I didn't grab it right away and I had some serious regrets. Hopefully my my lighting isn't too bad. I try to get as much natural light as I can, so I apologize, you guys. This deck is one of my favorites. It is kind of pippish, but you see you do get like a scene here at the bottom, so it's kind of a nice segue from a fully illustrated deck into a pip deck if you maybe aren't familiar with working with pip decks. The artwork on this deck is absolutely beautiful. Here you can see this is kind of like almost like a Marseille for the Ten of Swords. But this deck, the cardstock is really nice. It's that linen cardstock. It's really flexible, but it's not too thin, but it shuffles really nicely. It is very slippery, I will say. Like you can see, like it just, whoop, it slides all around. So that's the one thing. If you have a hard time handling slippery cards, this is a particularly slippery deck. It does come with, oops, a few extra cards. It has these moon phases, which it's hard to kind of get them in the camera, but they're a little sparkly, which I think is really neat. I tend to pull those out just because I'm not sure quite how I want to work with them. And anytime I've used this deck for myself, they haven't come up organically in a reading for me to kind of see how they fit, if that makes sense. Look at that, Lovers. So I pull them out when I'm reading for others. This tower is by far like one of my favorite towers. There's just something so beautiful about it. So yeah, so when I'm reading for others, I don't really use it. This moon, I could go on and on. The majors in this deck are absolutely beautiful. I don't really use them when I'm reading for others just because, again, I haven't really had them come up in any readings for myself, and I want to kind of play around with them, but like in an organic way, you know. I want them to come up in a reading organically so I can see how they work with the rest of the cards. So those moon cards I do end up pulling out when I'm reading for others. Of course I can't find, there is another card in here that is, these are all upside down, that is an extra. Let me just see if I can find it really quickly, because I feel like that's something that's important, right? When there's extra cards that come with the deck, you kind of want to see what those are, what they look like. There it is. You have the Seeker, which I think is probably meant to be like a significator card. I don't use it that way. I leave it in here because I feel like I can read this intuitively. You see, you kind of have him reaching beyond the veil and getting these messages. I think it's really cool. But yeah, it's a really nice deck. It reads really well. These are the backings. And it's one of my favorites. And I just feel like it has like that old, I don't know, wise feeling to it. It's funny because my husband said something the one day, and like he kind of lets me do my thing. He's not really into tarot. I think it kind of scares him a little bit. He doesn't really let me read for him because he doesn't necessarily like tough love, and the cards usually want to give him some tough love. But he had said something a little while back to me. Oh, of course I can't get these back in here. About how, like, if he's getting his cards read, he wants them read by, he wants to see like an old deck, a deck that knows something. He doesn't want like a cutesy modern deck. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the camera. So that to me is kind of what that is. But speaking of cutesy and modern, let's jump into the Food Fortunes Tarot. I mean, it's not even called Food Fortunes Tarot, it's just called Food Fortunes by Josh Lafayette. Now, I purchased this because, truth be told, you guys, it's just really cute. I don't really know how on earth I would utilize this. This is the little white book that comes with it. And you can see, like, there's really no write-up on the cards. It just kind of tells you what the food is. Like, it does kind of, it more or less tells you, like, hey, choose your dinner. Which is so silly. But it was so cute that I kind of couldn't resist it. These are the backs. They just say Food Fortune. They're reversible. Well, I guess, oh, yeah, I guess they're reversible because, haha, nifty, your elemental signs, when reversed, turn out to be the same. That's fun. But yeah, these are just so cute. And I don't know that you could really read them like a true tarot deck. Maybe you could. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my intuition just doesn't work that way. I don't know. But the artwork is just so fun and kind of kitschy and a little vintage looking. Like, I would hang these in my kitchen. They do have kind of like quote unquote majors and minors. The minors are broken down by, I want to say beverages, desserts, entrees, and side dishes, maybe something along those lines. But yeah, they're all food, and you can see they all have like kind of, oh yeah, ace of sides. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. King of drinks. So there you have drinks. Let's see if we can find another one real quick. Page of mains. Yeah, see, mains and sweets. Okay. Oops. So sides, mains, oops, I'm throwing things. Sweets, and drinks. They're just really cute. Like, look at this. And the names crack me up. Like, the sparkler, the roll, the classic, the scoop. Like, I don't know. They're real cute. Very much a novelty deck, I think. Again, I don't use these for readings. When I first got them, my sister and I were kind of playing with them, and I was like, oh, what should you eat for dinner? And like, you know, it gave us a laugh, but I don't know that I would actually do readings with these, but they're so cute. So I picked them up. They're not crazy expensive, so I have no regrets. I like just having them and flipping through them from time to time. Okay, speaking of cute, next up is the Happy Tarot by Serena Ficha? I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. I apologize. This one is adorable. And I will say that even though it is really cute, it is kind of a fan favorite. Like, a lot of people, this is your little white book. A lot of people really, really like this deck and gravitate towards this deck when I offer it in readings. It's adorable. I think if you had kids that were into tarot, wanted to start kind of reading for themselves, or just wanted a deck to flip through, this is a really nice deck for that, because even the darker cards are adorable. Like, there's nothing, like, here's Death. I'm sorry, how cute is he? He's just so cute. So yeah, so even the darker cards are not particularly scary. Some of them are just kind of colorized a little darker, but I feel like overall this is a perfect deck for, again, someone who's young and just looking to get into tarot, or even for those people who want a reading but are kind of put off by the traditional tarot imagery. Maybe they find it scary, they find it kind of intimidating. This is like a really nice, happy tarot. It is just so cute. And again, it reads really well. It is definitely a Rider-Waite-Smith clone for the most part. Like, here you go. Here's your Five of Wands. So if you are new to tarot, this one is relatively easy to read with. It's got those familiar scenes, just kind of cutesified. So yeah, that is the Happy Tarot. I really love it. I think it's adorable. Obviously, I wouldn't pull this out for certain readings if we're reading on something really serious or really heavy. I've edged mine in kind of like multiple purples. I apologize, guys. We're getting some weird shadow going on here. But I've edged mine in like these multiple purple shades, which I think is kind of fun. And yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's a really cute deck. It's a really sweet deck, and it reads really well. It's just a little too cute for when you're doing something a little more hardcore. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is one that lots of people are familiar with. Lots of people have seen. It's kind of a cult classic. This is the Fountain Tarot. And ooh, why is that sitting up there? I don't know. This is another one that I really loved from the first moment I saw it. Here's your little white book. It's got a decent amount of information. It's a pretty decent little white book. This is one that from the moment I first saw it, I knew I had to have it. You have that silver gilding. These are the backs. I will say I love this deck. I pull this out a lot for client readings as well. I read with it a lot myself, but I am definitely one of those people where this deck, maybe not the voice of the deck, but the artwork itself for me feels literally cold. Like when I look at it, I'm like, ooh, that's chilly. Like, does that make sense? I don't know. It's just a very, this death card is so interesting to me, the way they chose to do this. I don't know, it just reads really well. I think it reads on a variety of subjects really well. I think it can tackle, you know, more sensitive subjects in a really nice way. It handles love readings in a really nice way. I don't have a problem with the way that it reads. The imagery is cold to me. Some people describe it as airy. I could see that too. But for me, like overall the vibe is like, I don't know, Arctic. Does that make sense? I'm gonna turn this around because these seem to be, oh, of course. I don't know. I think it's really nice. It's a more modern deck. It has like kind of these abstract images, but they're still good that they're still good in a way that you can get a lot intuitively, but also I feel like they're not so incredibly far off from a Rider-Waite-Smith system that you have to struggle. I don't know. I like it. I think it's beautiful. Again, this is another one that I feel like people respond well to. Some of the imagery is a little darker, so it can be intimidating for someone who maybe isn't comfortable. You know, the Ten of Swords is just intimidating anyway, right? I mean, for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a favorite of mine. I've used it for myself. I've used it for others. Again, it gives really clear, concise readings. I like to say that a lot. Clear, concise readings. But it does. It reads really well. It reads in a manner that is gentle, even if I feel like the cards are a little cold. So I hope that makes sense. So that's the Fountain Tarot. And I forgot to say who it's by. I'm really bad about that lately. It's not on here. And like his name is right there too. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. Does it tell me here? Jonathan Saiz? I could be wrong on the pronunciation of that. I knew his name was Jonathan though. That was there. Okay, next we're gonna move on to a deck that I find kind of oddly specific, and that's the Romantic Tarot. You can see my box is kind of falling apart here, which is not awesome. So we're just gonna go in from the bottom, I guess. And I say, you know, oddly specific because this deck is definitely through a lens of romance, hence it's the Romantic Tarot. Here's your little white book. But the backings are beautiful. I think the backings are like 90% of why I bought this deck. And I just thought it would be great for romance readings, but I find that I read this deck so wildly differently from any other tarot deck. I do tend to go off of it more intuitively. I'll throw in some Rider-Waite base, if you will, but there's so much going on in the imagery that I tend to read it intuitively. And that's not a problem, except for the fact that it can be really, again, just oddly specific in the messages that it gives. And I don't know, it might just be a me thing. It might just be a trust thing where I'm not trusting my intuition enough to fully embrace what this deck is bringing to the table. And again, that's me. That's not the deck. Look at that fool. Look at that fool. That's not the deck. I don't know. It's just something that I think I have to get past. It is a beautiful deck. Each of the suits are kind of a different time frame or time period, if you will. So it's nice in that they all kind of mesh well together, but you can definitely see the differences between, you know, the wands and then, you know, well, that's a major. That's also a wand. Or like the cups. Like there's just a slight shift in time. So you can see that. Time and place, it almost seems like. Some of them are more like European vibe. I don't know. It's a really beautiful deck. I don't use it often. I'd like to use it maybe more often. I don't necessarily reach for this when people are asking questions about relationships. This is not what I go for because I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't know. I know that sounds so silly. It's not that it's a bad deck. It is definitely my own personal hang up for sure. But that is the Romantic Tarot. It is a Lo Scarabeo production by Emanuela Signorini. What a beautiful name. So, moving right along, we're gonna grab this one. This is the Crystal Tarot by Philip Permut. This one is another one that I don't work with enough, I don't think. Here is your book. It's beautiful, it's color. Those are the majors. Here's your minors. And what I love about this deck is, here's the backing. They're not reversible, but you know, it's fine. The one thing I do find weird about this deck is that if you look, the backs are all slightly different colors. Not all, but just, well, that was an edging job on my part. That's why that was so dark. But they're all like slightly different variations of this purpley lilac color. I like this deck because each card works with a different crystal, and it is a pip deck. As you can see, there is some illustration going on because you do have the crystals kind of thrown in there as well. This is a great deck, but one that I don't think I pull out as often as I'd like, because I feel like I need the book to truly appreciate which crystals are which. And again, I think that speaks more to me. I think it's just that I have a hard time identifying certain crystals just from, you know, looking at them. Like I would assume this is black tourmaline, but maybe not, because now that I'm looking at it outside of the camera, it looks a little green. So see what I mean? So I'd have to go to the book and be like, okay, the Fool, what crystal are we associating with the Fool? It's actually tourmaline, so I wouldn't have been wrong. Like this, I believe, is selenite, obviously, but some of them I know just because I can kind of put together the picture. Like here's the Lovers, and you obviously have rose quartz. I can put together the picture, and I can put together like the metaphysical meaning of the stone, and say, okay, well, this is obviously this, or this is obviously that. But some of them I can't. Like I'm just not the crystal expert I'd like to be. So I feel like that's why I kind of shy away from using this too often, because I do want that kind of added layer of, okay, you know, we're bringing in the Ace of Sword energy. What crystal can we use to kind of tap into that? You know what I mean? So, excuse me. It's not a bad deck. It's not maybe the greatest artwork on the planet. It's okay. But I do like that added element of the crystals. And again, if you're not comfortable working with a pip deck, you might struggle a little more with that aspect of it. But it's not bad. I just don't reach for it as much as I should, because, you know, if I'm reading, especially for somebody else, I don't want to be like, oh, there's a crystal associated with this. Let me look it up in the book for you. Like that's not how we're gonna get a quick and accurate reading. I did edge this again in kind of multiple purples. It's a little lighter than my Happy Tarot. I'm trying to get that to focus. But yeah, so that is the Crystal Tarot. Again, it's not that I don't like it. It reads really well. I've never had a problem reading with it. My problem is in my crystal identifying skills. So that's something that I need to work on, and I would like to work on. You know, it's something that I'm always kind of working on. I'm always adding to my crystal collection, and I'm always looking up different metaphysical properties and whatnot. So it's a thing. It's in the works. Let's go to something wildly different this time. And this is fairly new. This just came in, but I have been working with it. This is the Art History Tarot for Past Lives. Now this is your guidebook, and you can see there's a decent amount of information on everything, and I'm going to explain why this is wildly different. There is also a workbook, which I think is really great. It's basically a 21-day, I don't want to say program because that sounds strange, but it's like a 21-day walkthrough on how to fully utilize this deck, really make the most of it. This is the bag that it comes in. And this is by Red Orchid Publishing, which, does it give us the creator's name? It should, I'm assuming. It just says Red Orchid Publishing. Oh, Melanie, well, she spells her middle name like my daughter spells her first name, so probably Eva, because most people say Eva Henson. Oops, sorry, that's my phone going off. This is the backing on the cards. They're absolutely beautiful. Now, here's where they're different than your traditional tarot. Each card is a piece of artwork. It details what the artwork is, who the artwork is by, and what year it was painted. And you can see it says Sun up here, and down at the bottom it says Page of W, or Page of Wands. So this deck is specifically for working through past lives. So you can see there's places, there's specific people, there's different personality aspects, and the workbook kind of really walks you through, like, okay, you know what, who am I, what from my past life is carrying over into my present, you know, how is this impacting me. You know, it talks about kind of ancestral karma, or karma kind of carrying over from past lives. It's really fascinating. And I mean, I guess if you didn't want to use it in that way, you could just, again, utilize, ooh, religion just slid away there. I wonder if that's a sign. A personal sign. But yeah, you could use this as a regular tarot deck if you really, really wanted to. I just don't know why you would want to. Like, I don't know why you would kind of not take advantage of the extra work that has gone into this as a tool for past life work. You know what I mean? And there are some darker elements, like here we have murder. So there's a little bit of everything. Poison, dream, violence, like there's drowning. There's definitely darker, starvation. There's definitely darker aspects here too. It's not all positivity. It's not all you were a hero. You know, there is more to it than that. Oh my gosh, who is blowing up my phone? I forgot to put it on vibrate. I'm so sorry, you guys. Now you hear my Cookie Monster text tone. Super mystical. But yeah, so this is definitely, I apologize, you guys. My camera just shut off on me. That's rude. But you can see that this deck is so old that the box is basically just a sleeve. I did buy this secondhand. This is incredibly out of print. It's been out of print for some time, I believe. This deck was actually published originally, I think it was in 1992, if I'm not wrong. Let me just, you can see like this book has seen some things. Oh no, I'm sorry, 1997. I apologize. Now this is the little white book that originally came with the deck. It doesn't give you a whole heck of a lot. In fact, there is like a whole section in the back that focuses on the card game that you can also play with these, which is what these little symbols in the corner are all about. They are not tarot related at all. Those are, oops, some of them are upside down. Okay, those are related to the card game. So I think it's kind of interesting. I will not be utilizing them in that way because that's not really my jam. But it is interesting that it kind of harkens back to what tarot is, how it originated. You know, it started out as a card game and the divinatory practice kind of came later. So whereas it might seem kind of disrespectful, sacrilegious, whatever you want to call it, I guess sacrilegious isn't really the right word. I guess it depends. I don't know. It's really not. It actually kind of, again, harkens back to the beginning of tarot and what tarot was. So this book, again, I did purchase this book separately. It is published for the deck, and this is nice to have because it actually goes in depth as far as what is happening on the cards and how that translates into the world of tarot. So whereas this little white book is kind of just like me, this is kind of the meat and potatoes that really gets into how these are related. So if you're really into Lord of the Rings, I'm not like really into Lord of the Rings. I like them. These backings are kind of funny because they remind me of like old school like Microsoft Paint. They're very 90s. But if you like Lord of the Rings, if you're into that whole fandom, these are really cool, especially since at the bottom here they give you kind of a description of what's happening in the card itself. So the trolls fight amongst each other for their spoils while the sunlight comes up behind them. So it's like literally describing the scene to you, but you can see it's the Seven of Swords. So there's a little more on this card as far as words go, but it's not really keywords. It's just kind of telling you what's happening in the scene. It's kind of setting the scene for you. I have not done any reading with this yet. It kind of came in, I went through it, kind of oops, to see what it was all about. And yeah, it's not one that I've gotten to work with yet, so I really can't speak to how well it reads. You know, just going through it and some of the scenes that they've chosen, obviously from the books, not the movies, you guys, because this came out in 1997, pre-movies. Some of the scenes that they've chosen make perfect sense to me. Some of them I'm maybe not familiar enough with the books to grasp what's really happening. So it's going to be an interesting deep dive. I love the moon. And you know, it's something that I'm excited to get into. Again, I'm not a big Tolkien person. I can't claim that. I can't stamp that. But I just thought it was a fun deck to have, and they're you know, relatively easy to find, even though they are out of print. They're always kind of floating around for sale, and I was lucky enough again to grab that book through someone else. I bought these two separately. So something I'm interested to dive into is really what I'm trying to say. The next one is going to be our last one. Unfortunately, since my camera turned off, I don't know how long we've been going, but this is the last one I have chosen for this video. This is The Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan, and this one is like brand spanking new to me. It just came again this week. Look at this box, you guys. Isn't that beautiful? Here is your guidebook. Let's see. So here's like the Four of Swords. You get a decent chunk of information there on the minors. And oh, this person wrote in their book, you guys. I did not know that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll find their notes helpful. Who knows? That is so funny. Oh my goodness. At least they have nice handwriting. That's good. I can at least read it. So like here's the sun. Yeah, you get about the same amount for the majors as the minors. So that is so funny that they wrote in their book. I did not know that until just this moment, you guys, because like I said, this just came in, and when it came in, I ordered it. No, yes, but no. I put it in order because that's just part of what I do when I cleanse a deck, is I put it in order first and then I proceed to cleanse it. So it is in order. It is cleansed. It is ready to be used. I obviously haven't done anything with it yet because you can see it's still very much in order. I don't know how I feel about the artwork on this. It is very Rider-Waite-Smith. So again, if you are new to tarot and you're looking for a deck that you can maybe pick up and learn with, this would be a good one because the artwork is so very Rider-Waite-Smith. That being said, the faces on this, I don't know if I love them or hate them. I guess I love them for the fact that they tend to be very expressive, but it almost looks like they like digitally, I don't know, they like put these people into these pictures digitally. Does that make sense? Like they look too real and not real enough all at the same time. So that kind of makes me go, I don't know how I feel about it. But again, this just came in, so I haven't had a chance to work with it, but I figured I'd like, look at. This Page of Swords makes me giggle a little bit. He looks less than enthused to be there. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I haven't actually had a chance to work with it, so I can't speak to anything past that, but I just wanted to show you guys real quick because it is here. and it is part of the collection. These backs are beautiful. This is, again, 90% of the reason why I wanted this deck was for the backs. Obviously they're not fully reversible because you have the blue and the pinkish red, but I just thought, you know what, I found someone selling their copy. It was relatively inexpensive, and it was one that I had had my eye on for a while. I just wasn't convinced as to whether or not I needed it. So when it crossed my path, I went for it. And I'm interested to read now those notes that are in the book, because I'm interested to see, again, maybe it's something I needed to know. Who knows? So that is it for part 5. I, again, will have probably one more part to this series, because I do have another 7 or 8 or 9 decks to go. But I'm going to stop this here. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out for me. Oh my gosh, my brain's shutting off. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.